Totally. And I mean, you and your co-founder Braden both had the revenue, like you were both in charge of sales at the same time. And so that I imagine that helped quite a bit in the like what are you hearing? What are we learning? Those types of conversations.
100%. Yeah, we both kind of came from the similar backgrounds, so we were able to share best practices with each other, take learnings, shift really quickly. And then it really also helped as we brought on and shifted from kind of this like founder-led sales model to a sales team. We were quickly able to bring that team up to speed. And then also one of the early focuses for us was to build a really strong outbound SDR team to feed the first AEs we hired. We also built a really strong like rev ops or marketing ops team that built out all of our kind of lead gen and lead enrichment and all that really early. And so our first sales reps were like, wow, this is like a dream come true. Everything is like primed and ready for us to run. As we wanted to avoid some of the bottlenecks that we both felt in other startups, where you, as an early sales rep, you're like, "Where's the leads coming from?" Or, "Hey, I don't have any contact information." Or, "Hey, do I have to prospect myself? Should I?" All those things were like, "No, you should just have like 10 demos a day, and you should just be like, overloaded with pipeline." And that was what we wanted to set out for our first couple of AEs who, were wildly successful.
Couple of sales guys run a startup. Seems like it could go very poorly or it could go exactly like this.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to think about it.
So back to those first customers, getting that was it you and Braden right up to like 0 to $1 million in revenue in ARR?
I would say we probably got us to halfway there, and then we hired. And at that point too, we had enough conviction. We had revenue coming in that we were able to kind of play this. Okay, we've got enough revenue here that we can afford another hire. So it was still this bootstrapped of like, we couldn't go and really pre-hire a bunch of people ahead of schedule, like what normally happens when you go raise funding. So there was a bit of a stair step growth for that first million, but yeah, we were able to capture a good amount of ARR just ourselves.
And that kind of first, call it 500K, was just you, the two of you dialing, cold emailing, doing whatever you
For the most part, I'd say the one other thing we did early, very early, was conferences.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just because we felt like we needed to both evangelize and get our name out there while also doing lead gen. I think conferences, while for some early founders seem scary, it's like, oh, I'm going to go pay 10 grand to get a booth. And like, I got to figure out how to run a booth. And am I scared to talk to people? We were like, I probably went to 100 conferences before for all the other sales jobs I did. And so it was natural to say, let's go post up at a conference and just get as many leads as possible. We'll both be there and sponsor amongst other well-established companies. So if our booth's next to an Adobe or next to another big company, we're like, wow, Sendoso must be a big, cool company. I should take them seriously. So it helped drive some early leads. And then we cared so much about closing those early deals that I think in some cases, for larger companies, you have reps go into these conferences and maybe we'll cut out early to go get some drinks, or we'll get a lead that doesn't seem super hot and just say, I won't follow up. We were working as hard as we could, from, the minute it opened to the minute it ended, getting as many business cards, and really made those conferences work for us.
Right on. There is an element of a halo effect when you're posted up next to a company like Adobe.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that really helped us. And it also gave us another kind of a reason to reach out to prospects too for cold calling, saying, hey, we're going to be at this big conference trade show. Do you want to meet us there? So again, it gave us another reason to engage with prospects, which I think is helpful than just purely like cold outreach.
Was it like, because I imagine one segment was marketing leaders. I'm thinking of like my old marketing manager, Trish, would have loved this tool.
Yeah.
And like that segment is a lot more likely to go like to show up to a trade show. And so that made this a great fit. Do you think that's kind of that's the logic there?
Yeah, well, we actually had an epiphany really early on. I'm talking probably like month one of trying to of prospecting, and that we first built a list of CROs, VPs of sales, and said directors of sales said these are our buyers. And
Mhm.
after like a dozen or two conversations, we really realized that they were punting us over to marketing and said, "We want this. Our sales team could benefit from this, but marketing will buy." And so that like we then turned 100% of our attention away to focus on marketers, go to some trade shows where marketers were at. We realized
Mhm.
that sales would be an influencer at times and be an end champion and user, but marketing had the budget. Marketing was the one that had the ownership over direct mail and gifting and swag. And so it was really quick for us to move to marketing. And like you said, they're the ones that are showing up at conferences more so often too, and have more budget from the CFO. Albeit sales teams do have a sales tech stack, but even as a decade ago when we got started, the CRO, albeit they brought in all the revenue, just didn't have like a side budget saying, "Hey, we've got $1 million earmarked for programs this quarter," like as like marketing did.